Good evening, everyone. This is our last session of the day here at the FinTech Hall. This session will be exploring, will bank branches disappear in the future? And will be presented by Mr. Majdi Albet-Shawish, the CEO of Sedco. Majdi, can I welcome you to the stage, please?
This is yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Majdi Albet-Shawish. I'm CEO of Sedco. Sedco is a specialized company in digital branch transformation with focus in banking and also in telco and other sector as well. And the subject today is about the debate in the industry about the branches of the future and the future of branches in the banking sector. The question is, will the branches disappear for the banks? Will they need a transformation, or they will exist as they are now? As you know, the trend now is the branches are really in decline. Look at UAE. UAE, in the last quarter, 88 branches closed. There's a trend in the world now to close as many as branches. And the pandemic actually accelerated this because they're trying to re-innovate their digital presence in the online banking and mobile banking to try to have these transactions in a safe way. So that accelerated the building an infrastructure and enhance the digital journey for all banks. But in the same time, how banks will really interact and try to introduce new products, complex products, or will they lose in cross-selling opportunities? And there's a lot of online banking now, a bank that only have online, no branches. But they're struggling in some areas where human interaction is required, especially when introducing new products or selling a complex product that requires, explanation, interaction that you cannot do in the other channels. So what's the solution? So we look at the spectrum of use of the different channel of the banks and who use them. If you look at the classical branch, it's still preferred by all generations. So you have to look at each country demography and see your client segmentation. They are from what age group. So you don't ignore a big part of your customer segment by force them to use something that for them is not easy to use or is not convenient. So this is one area that we look at. That when you have a complex transaction. If you have a complex transaction, sometimes you go to the internet banking or even in a call center, they're not an easy way to explain the products and to have an interactivity that are required to really explain these products. Of course, the experience in the branch, it will take more time and effort because you have to wait, you have to travel. And sometimes the legal system in a country requires that because there's no synchronization in some countries, between the advance that happen in technology and the laws. The laws need to change. For example, in some countries, you need to sign a paper, a signature, because the law would not allow to have an onboarding of a new client all in a digital channel. Or you need prompt service of getting your checkbook, your card. You need also some transaction that has cash. Cash deposit is one of the happening and still happening in the branches, as well as a check deposit, as I said, a print statement that required sometimes. So all of these physical items requires you to go physically to the journey. And if you go to the other side, it's like some banks, they added some corner in their branches where they have self-service machines, of course with ATM for cash as well. so they can offload their tellers from the repetitive transactions that could be done easily by the machine. And then the extreme of the online or web or mobile banking, which is preferred by younger generation that you used to Uber, and they expect the financial service to be like Uber, like it's prompt, it's easy, and it's because they're fluent actually, and it's for simple transaction. There's no travel time, no wait time, and this human interaction, which sometimes, especially in the pandemic, it's a safer way to do the transaction. So the trend now is soon future, the banking branches will not disappear, but they have to go through a transformation. They will be decline in the number of branches, and they have to have the right mix of the branches to the digital channel depend upon your profile of the customer, so specific per bank, per country, because they have to really analyze their what in the branch transactions happening with what age group, with what geography. And then they can redesign and redistribute their branches in many models of we call it smarter branches. And that will actually, we look at two sides, from the banking side, and this is a few things that the bank can benefit and the customer experience can benefit, because it's very important that when you equip your branches go through a digital transformation, you allow for services anywhere, anytime, which is like 24/7. It's also give you prompt service of when you have a physical item dispensing, or getting a checkbook, check leaflets, get debit card immediately, credit card immediately, instead of waiting to get it in the mail, which is costly, which is inconvenient, because when you get it in a courier, sometimes you're there, not there, and all you want to go through the working hours to the bank if they have instant card issuing, or you have to go through 2 trips to the bank, apply for it, and then get it, because the lack of maybe the integration between the digital channel and the physical channel. Of course, you save in time of travel, time of waiting. There's no waiting time, and now the thing that is safer journey, because there's no human interaction. For the bank, of course, when you redesign your banks, the cost of a transaction in a classical branch, it's in average, they say it's around $4 to $8.6 in the online, or less actually. This is in one of the countries. So look at the cost saving in the cost of a transaction that you can get out of that. And you can also have an optimal distribution and better utilization of your resources, because when you have a video capability in your digital corner, so you will have a better utilization, because branches are really peaking in different time of the day in per geography. So the other employees, they can support the busier branches instead of adding resources, and you can have less number of people per branches. So the size of the branch and the OpEx will be less, because you can have less people and less space as well. And it boosts your revenue, because it will free up the tellers or the service advisor from doing a simple transaction, because in the banking sector there's some tellers or some service advisor. They will have more time to really cross-sell and sell a new product for your customers. That's what will boost your revenue. And the flexibility of mobility of the branches, and even some of the banks now go for mobile physical branches, instead of having in small rural areas many branches. They put it in a mobile, and they have a route to do these services also in these remote areas. This is one of the models of a smart branch, and that smart branch could vary in a model from a country to a country, to a bank, depends upon their customer segmentation and geography. If you look at this area, which is during the working hour areas where you have tellers, then you have and extended working hours 16 by 17. And we see this in a mall branches because mall branches is mushrooming. And banks now try to open branches where there's a huge footfall, but having a smaller branch because of the rent high in the huge, where the huge footfall. So you have to have a agile branch. And they introduce some entertainment, some cafes inside the branch. And you have the 24/7 services, which is a digital corner. But we structure it in a different way than what's happening now, because we see a lot of initiatives in the having a flagship of a digital branch, and they see the traction of users in that. They just pass by and you don't go with it. Why? Because there is no smart rovering agent to introduce and try to really introduce these services to the customers. So we recommend that you have in this area a meter greeter that, based on the age group, the demography, the CRM data that you run, and this type of service that's required, you route the customer either to a quick service machine. So you look up, you have a services are really many machines that are really based on a quick service, and this you have a virtual service machine that's really designed for a seated environment where some services required advisory or required onboarding process that the time of service is really long. So in terms of convenience for the customer, so they will be routed based on their age group, based on the type of service. So if it's a quick service, for example, print statement, they can go up and print services. Or if they do onboarding and they're in the young generation, they can go also to the VSMs or there. And if they have cash, they can go to the ATM. So this is one of the models. And you can have these models immediately in your classical branches. You transform your classical branches and introduce the concept of digital corner and integration between this digital corner and the digital channel, where some of the quick services you can start it in your mobile. So you want to renew your ATM card and you are passing by a corner of that. So you will do that in your mobile. You have a QR code, you just scan and you get immediately what you got in 2 minutes. So not necessarily you start your journey in the digital corner. You can start your journey digitally in whatever digital channel is there and continue this inside the branch if there is an integration between these two things. And in many models, actually, this is one of the models, but they put it in a hub base where you have all the services, even with the teller, but you can have the digital corner or part of the digital corner, only the machines in a high footfall areas. So you can have this kiosk installed in a malls, in airports sometimes, or in high traffic areas where you don't need to have a total branch. You can have only these machines in a very agile, small branches, and you can mix. You can have hub and spoke branches in each geography. So as I mentioned, this is the 24/7 area, which is digital corner. And this could be also alone, not without the whole branches in the models of hub and spoke. And you can have this in a mall-like environment, which is a lot now. So you have the 16/17. And the availability of during the normal working hours of full service with like a human teller as well. These are some of the machines that we do. We do a full solution of a smart branch. So we don't only do the self-service machine, we do all the required modules integrated together to provide a comprehensive journey management. We see a lot of failures in smart branch because they have a silos of systems that are really not integrated together that will create a confusion in the customer journey. So for example, they have a queuing management solution that's not integrated with the self-service digital corner. So have only the queuing management for a teller. So you go to the queuing or you go to the service machine alone. So they have a confusion. So you have to be integrated. You have a digital signage that the content is not relevant to the demography of the client. You have a video walls with cataloging, no feedback, no even what's most important is getting the data and in all touch points that in the customer journey, and you put it in a data warehouse where you can have data mining, and this wealth of data will help you to design your product and actually even design your branches as well. So this is one of the machine. We call it a virtual service machine. This machine can provide all the services that some of I mentioned here. So can have onboarding, video banking, which provide assisted services for people that are really stuck or don't know how to use the machines. They just press in the machine. The video teller will help and control the machine. You can have scanning of documents that require for opening a new account. You can have an instant checkbook printed for you. You can have your debit card promptly, so you can open an account and get all what's required immediately in the same moment in 5 minutes or 7 minutes. And you can apply for loan. If you have an advisory service that requires a long time, you can sit and discuss this with the agent. Or there's another model, which is for quick services. We see a lot of ITMs going in the market where you have cash and other services combined together. So I've seen it many times. People want to have cash and somebody is opening a new account in the same machine. So you have an expensive machine, okay, and because it's expensive, you cannot copy this and in all your branches. You put it only in the flagship branches, and you will an expensive machine doing somebody want to do onboarding and want to print a statement. Why they shall wait? Why shall they what? With the cost of one machine, you can have a specific quick service machine, cash machine, which you have already in the ATM, and you can have the seated environment of all services that will provide you with a convenience for long services. So this is also a kiosk. So you can have in the same branches many kiosks. It depends on the service required and depends on the data that you have per branch, what transactions that's happening in the branch, and what is the service time, and what demography is there in the branch. So you can design your branches, customize to your data, not a one-size-fits-all. This is very, very, very important. So this is an example of QR code, somebody that started his or her journey in the mobile, and they want that just to print a statement or get a card or get a checkbook out of something. They go to this machine and they get it immediately. They don't need to wait in the queue. They don't want to wait an ITM to do that. So this is, in conclusion, we see a lot of hype about digital branch transformation, success rate, and very few banks going to implement it in a massive way because of the cost involved. Why? Because what we've seen that a limited offering of an ITM-like or a multifunctional kiosk that has everything on it, and it's very expensive, and it's not integrated with the journey. So it creates a confusion. Not easy to use. There is no introduction for the customer how to use it through the classical branch. So you have to put that digital corner in the classical branch, and then afterwards you introduce your own small agile branches so people know how to use it and they get assisted how to use it at start. So there's a change of customer behavior that it will take time, and there's cost involved. If a machine costs high and you have limited number of these machines inside your branches, that will introduce actually a friction in the customer journey because they have to wait for a quick service in a machine, but there's no other machine to help them. With the 2/3 of the cost, you can have a smarter branch where the services are really integrated in a good way, in a seamless journey, a frictionless journey, and as well as there's no wait time because you have a specific services delivered based on time and type of services. Also, we see a lot of the digital branches are really not integrated with the digital channel. So if you start something from digital channel and you want to continue what you started in a journey to give a complete service, you cannot go to the digital branch and get that immediately. So one of the value is to really have a full journey management, whether it's a physical journey inside the branch across all touch points, and this journey shall be frictionless, as well as if you started the journey from the digital channel, you can continue your journey inside the branch. I'll show you a video that will
moving towards digital
show some of the
to serve
examples
customers
of the branch.
anytime, anywhere. However, they cannot just close their physical branches, as many complex transactions require direct interaction. Setco helps banks to transform their classical branches to smart digital ones with less operating expenses while extending services beyond the working hours. Being a smart bank is all about delivering the best customer experience, bearing in mind that some customers prefer automated services, while others don't. Understanding that, Setco provides an omni-channel experience where your meter greeter can guide customers to a human teller, a video teller, or to a self-service machine. Over the weekend, Adam wants to open a new bank account and issue an ATM card immediately. For an exceptional bank, providing such services 24/7 is smart and beyond convenience. Adam identifies himself, fills an e-form, scans his ID card, e-signs the application, and selects the type of card and the method to receive a secured payment. Within a few seconds, Adam gets the ATM card of his new account. He leaves positive feedback and happily tells his friends about the great experience. Setco's self-service kiosks offer other services, including check deposit, instant checkbook or check leaves printing, account statement printing, card renewal, applying for loans, transferring funds, and other types of requests. Sarah, while packing for a business trip, gets a reminder of her bank appointment to sign urgent loan documents. Although it was important, but Sarah had to cancel, since she knows that her smart bank has Setco's virtual service machines. She also realizes that her checkbook is about to run out. Arriving to the airport, Sarah finds the machine around the corner. She verifies herself, selects the loan service, and goes over the updated terms. Sarah experiences the video banking as she has some questions before signing the e-form. By initiating a video conference with the bank's teller, she gets the required assistance remotely. Then, Sarah selects check service, confirms printing the checks, and receives the printed copies instantly. Setco's virtual service machines are much more feasible than multifunctional ATMs, as they come at lower development, deployment, and maintenance costs while reducing your in-branch traffic. Setco is your partner to transform your classical branches to smart digital ones and beyond.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, everybody, that brings us to the end of our conference this year. We hope to see you all again next year at Seamless 2021 in September. Good evening.